sometimes overlooked aspect in games is the sound. Sound can help add more impact and feel to actions that players perform over and over again. They can also increase immersion and help set the mood for the player. The last statement is easily applicable to open world games and games that contain overworlds. Overworld themes need to be amazing as they are heard for long periods of time over and over again. They also need to capture the mood and the atmosphere and somehow express that to the player. Using a bland or annoying theme can drive a player to boredom or even insanity. Hi, I'm Josh J from CreepScore, and this is my top 10 favourite overworld themes in video games. Now, just to make this clear, this is my list of favourite overworld themes. Therefore, it is most likely that some of your favourites will not be included in this list, as I may not have played that particular game, or it just wasn't my cup of tea. And when it comes to music, we all have our own tastes and preferences. I decided I was going to limit my options to one song per game, but multiple songs per franchise, as some of these games have multiple overworld themes that easily deserve a spot on this list. So let's start with number 10. The first entry belongs to the game that introduced me to the Final Fantasy franchise. Back in the day, when I was first playing this game, I wasn't particularly fond of the song, as it meant that I was in an area where random enemy encounters were a possibility. And at the early stages of the game, I had little knowledge of how the junction system worked, so there was a fairly high chance I would die, especially if I was confronted by a T-Rex or. After I got over the initial fear, I began to actually like the song. It is fairly soft in delivery. The main melody has a subtle reverb effect to it that expresses the vastness of the world you explore in Final Fantasy VIII. The simple bass line sounds like it mimics curious footsteps through exploration, and with the rest of the composition gives off a mysterious vibe which is well suited to the story of the game. Zelda overworld themes tend to take on a more light-hearted feel. With Twilight Princess, there is still some light-heartedness to be found, as well as hope, which is a feeling typically found in any Zelda overworld theme, but it's mixed in with some more serious, more urgent, more mature feel, just like the rest of the game. When used as a yin to the night theme's yang, where everything is darker, drawn out and more mysterious, the daytime theme seems to even further push urgency onto the player. As if to say, hurry up and do what you need to do, because come nighttime you won't be able to do it. You can also hear subtle nods to the Ocarina of Time Hyrule Field theme, which adds a nice touch. I didn't spend as much time as I usually would with other Zelda titles just exploring Hyrule. Whether or not that was anything to do with the theme, I don't know, but it is a possibility. This theme song is a bit of a strange one, as it's not terribly fitting for the theme of the game, but that doesn't stop this song from being a beautiful euphoric gem. It gives off a feeling that everything is okay, but as you continue to uncover the true extent of the terrors that await you, you'll discover the entire world is in terrible trouble. The further the song progresses, the more it seems to lull you into this false sense of peace as the synthesized strings tightly harmonize with one another for long-held notes before perking up again for the start of the loop. Now, this was a tough inclusion, as it isn't strictly used as an overworld theme and is better known as the main theme to the game, but I found it to be such a great tune that I fell in love with it the first time I listened to it. I feel that Bethesda felt the same way about it, as it became the base of every Elder Scrolls main theme in the games that followed. Personally, my favourite rendition is the Oblivion version, but as that wasn't used as an overworld theme, I chose this one instead. Its delicate use of woodwind for the main melody, which is later joined by strings, makes the song instantly memorable and a joy to listen to. It was really hard to choose whether or not to pick this song or the Dark World theme, as they are both amazing overworld themes, but I chose this one to also pay homage to the original song from the first Zelda. And the reason this version is in here and not the original is because Link to the Past was my introduction to the Legend of Zelda franchise. I respect the original, as without it, this version of the theme wouldn't exist. But that being said, to hear the Link to the Past version, then to go back and hear the original is like hearing Shout 2000 by Disturbed before hearing the original by Tears for Fears. This is a similar case to Chrono Trigger. The theme doesn't necessarily fit the overall theme of the game, as it doesn't exactly convey the fact that Princess Peach has been kidnapped again, in her own castle of all places, but it does suit its surroundings. A royal castle with a theme song that is completely fitting. The song is a fairly perky song with a regal sound to it. It is really satisfying to spend long periods of time running through the castle just to listen to this beautiful song, along with many of the other songs found in this masterpiece of a game. This game was a great find. In my younger years, after finishing The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, I was constantly in search for games that looked similar to it. In doing so, I found many duds, but I also found this game, and although it wasn't like Zelda, it was still a terrific game in which I spent countless hours playing and grinding levels. No tune did I hear more than this one. Even with the countless hours that I spent listening to this tune subconsciously, I still never tired of it, and would happily hum along to it, even if I was stuck on a particular battle. One thing I especially loved about Sonic Team is they always went for complex compositions with their games, and they created some of my absolute favourite video game music tracks ever. Shining Force 2 is no exception. As you trek across Grand Island and Palmacia, finding people to join your force to help fight evil, you hear a tune that has multiple melodies that go off on their own tangents yet somehow combine to make one epic composition. This was one amazing game. Along with Super Mario 64, this just went to show that Nintendo know exactly how to venture into new territories, and in those cases, dimensions. In Ocarina of Time, you explore the realm of Hyrule for the first time in 3D. You venture through lush forests, swim and explore underwater temples, cross a desert with wild sandstorms, climb volcanic mountains, and visit small villages, all while traversing across a large grass field that connects all these places together. Hyrule Field. The first time you are introduced to the area, you are given a quick pan as this beautiful tune plays, a tune that emphasizes adventure and hope as you begin your own adventure into a story that so far is only a very small fragment of what is before you. Another nice feature about this theme is how it is somewhat dynamic. It adapts to the situations that are happening as you play. It becomes a darker theme if an enemy is nearby, it becomes softer, and the notes become more sustained as the sun sets. I was slightly disappointed that they didn't go with the usual Legend of Zelda Overworld theme, but quickly forgave them after this song became quickly embedded in my brain. Skyrim's Overworld soundtrack has so many great songs in it, but for me, none are more memorable than the track Far Horizons. The long sustained notes, the slow mellow string ensemble, the way the main and the low melody dance around one another in a composition that gives a peaceful yet uneasy feeling to the player. The sustained notes help emphasize the vastness of the cold, harsh and yet beautiful land that is Skyrim. It somehow has the ability to put you at peace while at the same time fill your mind with lingering thoughts of what may be around the next bend. As if telling you that things are good now, but at any moment that can quickly change. When played on a nice pair of headphones or speakers, the nice smooth hum of the double bass really sends this track to another level. Finally, Wind Waker. I absolutely love not only the overworld theme but this game. The theme composed for this game is absolutely perfect for the long travels across the ocean that is now Hyrule. The song has a feel of exploration to it, which is extremely fitting for this game as you will spend a lot of time out at sea. I find this song constantly being stuck in my head along with a lot of the songs from this game. Similar to Ocarina of Time, this theme was also dynamic, changing tone when you approached enemies. The volume increased and decreased, as well as instruments being introduced and removed from the ensemble relative to the speed you were travelling. The way the simple bass line maintains the rhythm of the song keeps you upbeat in spirit as you go on to save an acquaintance and eradicate evil from Hyrule once again. And in a tough time, a tune like this can be exactly what you need. So that's my list. Were your favourites similar to those mentioned? If so, hit that like button. If not, why not leave a comment down below with some of your favourite Overworld themes? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to CreepScore for more game related content. So until next time, this was Josh J from CreepScore, and thank you so much for watching this video.